Hello there, my amazing English learners. Welcome back to the English Podcast Classroom. I'm so excited you're here with me today. If this is your first time listening, welcome to our learning family. And for all my regular listeners, thank you so much for coming back. You make this podcast such a joy to create. Today, we're going to talk about something that I know many of you struggle with. It's one of the most common questions I get from my students. How can I stop translating everything in my head and start thinking directly in English? This is such an important topic because thinking in English is the key to becoming truly fluent. When you can think in English, speaking becomes faster, more natural, and much more confident. You'll stop those long pauses while you translate in your mind, and you'll start expressing yourself more like a native speaker. But here's the thing. Learning to think in English doesn't happen overnight. It's a skill that you need to develop step by step. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you practical, easy-to-follow strategies that you can start using right away. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why your brain wants to translate everything, you'll know specific techniques to train your mind to think in English, and you'll have a clear action plan for practicing every single day. Most importantly, you'll feel confident that you can make this change happen. I want you to think of today's lesson as training for your brain. Just like you train your muscles at the gym, we're going to train your brain to think in a new language. It takes time and practice, but I promise you it's absolutely possible. I've seen thousands of students make this transition, and you can too. Are you ready to transform the way your brain processes English? Let's dive right in and discover how to make English thinking your new superpower. Before we learn how to think in English, let's understand why your brain wants to translate everything. This isn't a problem with you or your English skills. It's completely normal and natural. When you first learned your native language as a child, your brain created a complete system for understanding and expressing ideas. This system is like a well-built highway in your mind. All your thoughts naturally travel on this highway because it's fast, comfortable, and reliable. When you started learning English, your brain didn't create a new highway. Instead, it built a bridge from the English words to your native language highway. So when you hear or read English, your brain automatically crosses that bridge to your native language, understands the meaning there, then crosses back to English when you need to speak or write. This translation process happens so fast that you might not even notice it, but it's there, working in the background of every English conversation you have. And while this bridge system works, it has some problems. First, it makes you slower. Every time you translate, even for just a second, it creates a delay. Native speakers don't have this delay because they think directly in English. Second, it can create errors. Sometimes ideas don't translate perfectly from one language to another. When you translate, you might use English grammar patterns from your native language, or you might choose words that don't quite fit the English context. Third, and this is really important, it limits your fluency. When you're always translating, you can only express ideas that translate well. But English has its own unique ways of expressing thoughts, and you miss out on these when you're stuck in translation mode. Here's something that might surprise you. Native speakers never translate. When I think about what to eat for lunch, I don't think the words, I am hungry and would like to eat something. I think in concepts, feelings, and images. Then, when I need to speak, those concepts automatically become English words. This is what we want to achieve for you. We want to build a new highway in your brain, an English highway where your thoughts can travel directly in English without needing that translation bridge. Now, you might be wondering, is it really possible for me to think in English like a native speaker? The answer is absolutely yes. Your brain is incredibly flexible and capable of learning new patterns at any age. But it does require the right approach and consistent practice. The key is to gradually train your brain to use English for more and more of your internal thinking. We start small with simple thoughts and concepts and slowly build up to more complex ideas. It's like learning to walk. You start with small steps and gradually take bigger and bigger ones. The good news is that you've already started this process without even realizing it. If you've ever had a simple English word pop into your head, or if you've ever counted in English without thinking about it, you've experienced thinking in English. We're going to build on these small moments and make them bigger and more frequent. Remember, the goal isn't to never use your native language again. Your native language will always be important and valuable. The goal is to give your brain the option to think directly in English when that's more useful or natural. The first strategy we're going to learn is called internal narration. This means describing what you're doing or what you see using simple English in your mind. Internal narration is perfect because it uses vocabulary and grammar you already know, but it trains your brain to think in English patterns. Plus, you can practice this anywhere, anytime, without anyone knowing you're doing it. Let's start with the most basic level. Right now, I want you to look around where you are and simply name things you see in English. Don't translate from your native language. Just look and think the English word. For example, if you see a chair, think chair. If you see a window, think window. If you see your phone, think phone. This might seem too simple, but it's actually the foundation of thinking in English. Now, let's make it slightly active. Start describing what you're doing right now using simple present tense. Think things like, I am sitting, I am listening, I am learning English. Here's your first practice exercise. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to practice this internal narration. Look around you and describe what you see and what you're doing using only English in your mind. Ready? Start now.
Great job! How did that feel? You might have noticed that your brain wanted to think in your native language first, then translate. That's completely normal. The goal is to gradually train your brain to skip that translation step. Let's move to the next level. Now, we're going to describe actions as they happen. This is like being the narrator of your own life movie, but using very simple English. For example, as you walk to the kitchen, think, I am walking to the kitchen. When you open the refrigerator, think, I am opening the refrigerator. When you pick up a glass of water, think, I am picking up water. The key here is to use simple, basic English that you're completely confident with. Don't try to use complicated vocabulary or grammar. We're building a foundation, not constructing a skyscraper. Here's some simple phrases you can use for internal narration. I am walking. I am eating. I am looking at. I see a. I am holding. I am thinking about. It is raining. The sun is shining. I feel happy. I feel tired. Practice this internal narration for just 5 minutes every day. You can do it while you're getting ready in the morning, while you're cooking, while you're walking, or even while you're doing household chores. The magic of this technique is that it's training your brain to use English for immediate, present moment thinking. This is exactly the kind of thinking that happens naturally when you're fluent in the language. Remember, start simple and be patient with yourself. If you catch your brain translating, that's okay. Just gently redirect your thoughts back to English. Over time, this will become more and more automatic. Your brain is like a muscle. The more you use it for English thinking, the stronger and more natural it becomes. Internal narration is like doing basic exercises for your English thinking muscle. Our second strategy is about training your brain to group and connect ideas directly in English. This helps you think more like a native speaker because you're using English logic patterns instead of translating logic patterns from your native language. Let me explain what I mean by categories and associations. When native English speakers think about the word dog, they don't just think about the animal. They automatically think about related English concepts: pet, loyal, bark, walk, park, leash, puppy. These connections happen in English, not in translation. Right now, your brain probably makes these connections in your native language, then translates them to English when you need to speak. We want to train your brain to make these connections directly in English. Here's how we practice this. Choose a simple English word that you know very well. Let's start with home. Now I want you to think of other English words that connect to home without translating. Think words like family, comfortable, safe, kitchen, bedroom, sleep, relax. Notice how I'm not asking you to think of the word for home in your language, then think of related words in your language, then translate them all to English. Instead, I want you to start with the English word home and let your mind find other English words that connect to it. Let's practice this together. I'll give you a word, and you think of English words that connect to it. Don't worry about being perfect or finding the right connections. Just let your brain explore English connections naturally. The word is school. Take a moment and think of English words that connect to school. You might think teacher, student, learn, books, classroom, homework, friends, test. Good. The word is food. Think of English connections: hungry, delicious, cook, restaurant, breakfast, dinner, eat, taste. Excellent. One more. Music. English connections might be song, dance, radio, listen, guitar, singer, concert, happy. This exercise is training your brain to think in English word networks instead of translation networks. The more you practice this, the more naturally your brain will move from one English concept to another without needing your native language as a bridge. Here's another way to practice categories. Choose a category like things in my bedroom or things I do in the morning. Then list items in that category using only English thinking. For example, things in my bedroom might be bed, pillow, blanket, lamp, window, clothes, books, phone charger. Things I do in the morning might be wake up, brush teeth, take shower, get dressed, drink coffee, check phone, eat breakfast. The key here is to let your brain work directly in English categories without translating a list from your native language. You can also practice this with opposites and comparisons in English. Think of word pairs like hot, cold, big, small, happy, sad, fast, slow. Train your brain to understand these relationships in English without translation. Another fun exercise is English word associations. Start with one word and let your brain jump to the next English word that comes to mind, then the next, and so on. For example, sun, bright, light, lamp, room, house, home, family, love. This creates English thinking paths in your brain. The more you practice these associations, the more your brain learns to think in English patterns. Try to practice category thinking for 10 minutes every day. You can do this while waiting for the bus, during a break at work, or before you go to sleep. It's a quiet mental exercise that you can do anywhere. Remember, the goal is not to think faster or to know more words. The goal is to train your brain to connect ideas directly in English. This will make your speaking and understanding much more natural over time. One of the biggest mistakes English learners make when trying to think in English is attempting to think complicated thoughts right away. This is like trying to run a marathon when you've just learned to walk. It's too much, too soon, and it usually leads to frustration and giving up. The secret to successful English thinking is to start with thoughts that are much simpler than what you would think in your native language. This might feel strange at first, but it's absolutely necessary for building your English thinking foundation. In your native language, you think in complex sentences with advanced vocabulary, cultural references, and sophisticated grammar. But when you're learning to think in English, you need to think like a child learning language for the first time. Let me give you an example. In your native language, you might think something like, I'm feeling quite frustrated because this traffic jam is making me late for my important meeting, and my boss will probably be annoyed with me. But when you're training your brain to think in English, that same thought should be simplified to something like, traffic is bad. I will be late. My boss will not be happy. Notice how the English version is much simpler, but still communicates the same basic meaning. This is exactly how you should practice English thinking. Simple, clear, and using vocabulary you're completely confident with. Here's why this works. When you try to think complex thoughts in English, your brain gets overwhelmed and automatically switches back to your native language to handle the complexity. But when you keep your English thoughts simple, your brain can stay in English mode and gradually build confidence. Let's practice simplifying thoughts together. I'll give you a complex idea and we'll break it down into simple English thinking. Complex thought. I'm really looking forward to my vacation next month because I've been working so hard lately and I desperately need a break to recharge and spend quality time with my family. Simplified English thinking. I want vacation. I work too much. I am tired. I need rest. I want time with family. See how the simplified version captures the main ideas but uses simple grammar and vocabulary? This is perfect for English thinking practice. Let's try another one. Complex thought. I'm trying to decide whether I should take the promotion at work because it means more money and better opportunities, but it also means longer hours and more stress. Simplified English thinking. New job has good things and bad things. More money is good. More work is hard. I must choose. Perfect. This simplified thinking allows your brain to process ideas in English without getting overwhelmed by complex grammar or advanced vocabulary. Here's how to practice this in your daily life. When you catch yourself thinking something in your native language, try to express the same basic idea using simple English. Don't worry about losing details or sophistication. Focus on the main message. Start with your most common daily thoughts. Instead of complex thoughts about food, think, I am hungry. I want lunch. Instead of complex thoughts about weather, think, it is cold today. I need jacket. Instead of complex thoughts about work, think, work is busy today. I have many tasks. Instead of complex thoughts about family, think, I miss my family. I will call them. The beauty of this approach is that it works with any level of English. Whether you're a beginner or intermediate learner, you can always find a simpler way to express your thoughts in English. As you practice this simplified thinking every day, something amazing will happen. Your brain will gradually become more comfortable with English thinking patterns. Simple English thoughts will become automatic and natural. Then very slowly, you can start adding a little more complexity. But always remember, it's better to think simple thoughts in English than complex thoughts in your native language that you then translate. This strategy also helps with speaking confidence. When your internal thoughts are already in simple English, speaking becomes much easier because you're not trying to translate complex ideas in real time. Practice this simplified thinking for at least 15 minutes every day. Choose times when your thoughts are naturally simple anyway, like when you're doing routine activities, eating, or getting ready for bed. Now we're going to take your English thinking to the next level by using English for planning and making decisions.
This is a powerful technique because planning and decision-making are active mental processes that engage your brain in deeper English thinking. When you plan your day or make decisions in English, you're not just thinking about English, you're thinking with English. This creates stronger neural pathways and makes English thinking feel more natural and automatic. Let's start with simple daily planning. Instead of planning your day in your native language, try planning it using basic English. This doesn't mean you have to plan out loud. You're doing this silently in your mind. For example, instead of thinking complex plans in your native language, think simple English plans like, today I will go to work. Then I will buy food. After work, I will exercise. Tonight, I will watch TV. Notice how simple and clear this is? You're using basic future tense and simple vocabulary, but you're engaging your brain in English thinking for real-life planning. Let's practice this together. Think about what you're going to do after this podcast ends. Plan it in simple English. You might think something like, after this podcast, I will make coffee. Then I will check my messages. Maybe I will call my friend. Take a moment now and plan your evening in simple English. Use phrases like, I will, I want to, I need to, and maybe I will.
Great! How did that feel? Planning in English might feel slower at first, but it's building important thinking skills in your brain. Now let's practice simple decision-making in English. Decision-making is perfect for English thinking because it involves comparing options, which is something you can do with simple vocabulary and grammar. Here's how to practice. When you have a simple decision to make, think through the options in English. For example, should I have coffee or tea? Coffee gives energy. Tea is relaxing. Today I am tired. I will choose coffee. Or, should I walk or take the bus? Walking is good exercise. Bus is faster. I have time today. I will walk. The key is to keep your reasoning simple and clear. You're training your brain to process decisions using English logic patterns rather than translating your decision-making process from your native language. Let's practice this with some common decisions. I'll give you a decision scenario, and you think through it in simple English. Decision 1. You're choosing what to eat for lunch. You can have a sandwich or soup. Think through this decision in English. You might think, sandwich is quick and easy. Soup is warm and healthy. I am not very hungry. Soup is better today. Decision 2. You need to choose between watching a movie or reading a book tonight. Think through this in English. You might think, movie is fun and easy. Book is good for learning. I want to relax tonight. I choose movie. This kind of English decision-making practice has several benefits. First, it trains your brain to use English for real mental work, not just for memorizing vocabulary. Second, it helps you to learn to express your reasoning in English, which is incredibly useful for conversations. Third, it makes English thinking feel practical and relevant to your daily life. You can also use English for bigger planning activities. Try planning your weekend, your next vacation, or even your goals for learning English. Keep the language simple, but engage your brain in real planning work. For example, this weekend, I want to clean my house. I also want to visit my parents. Sunday is better for parents. Saturday is better for cleaning. I will clean Saturday morning. I will visit parents Sunday afternoon. The more you use English for actual mental work like planning and decision-making, the more natural English thinking becomes. Your brain starts to see English not just as a subject you study, but as a tool you can use for real thinking and problem solving. Try to use English for at least one planning session and one decision-making session every day. It can be as simple as planning what to wear or deciding what to have for breakfast. The important thing is that you're engaging your brain in active English thinking.
The fifth strategy is about creating specific habits that automatically trigger English thinking in your brain. Habits are powerful because they become automatic over time, which means you'll start thinking in English without having to consciously decide to do it. The key to building English thought habits is to connect English thinking with activities you already do every day. This way, the activity becomes a trigger that reminds your brain to switch to English thinking mode. Here are some powerful English thought habits you can start building today. Habit 1. English morning routine. Connect your morning routine with English thinking. As soon as you wake up, start your internal narration in English. Think, I am waking up. I am stretching. I am getting out of bed. Continue this English narration through your entire morning routine, brushing teeth, taking a shower, getting dressed, eating breakfast. The morning is perfect for this because your brain is fresh and you're doing familiar activities. You don't have to think hard about what you're doing, so you can focus on thinking about it in English. Habit 2. English commute thinking. If you walk, drive, or take public transportation regularly, use this time for English thinking. Instead of thinking in your native language or listening to music, practice internal narration about what you see and experience. Think, I am walking to the bus stop. The weather is nice today. I see many people. That building is tall. The traffic is heavy. This habit is great because commuting time is usually empty time anyway, so you're not taking away from other activities. Habit 3. English meal planning. Before each meal, spend 1 minute thinking about your food in English, not just naming the food, but thinking about it. I am hungry. This food looks good. It smells delicious. I think it will taste sweet. This connects English thinking with something you do multiple times every day, which creates many opportunities for practice. Habit 4. English bedtime review. Before you go to sleep, spend 5 minutes reviewing your day using simple English. Think, today was good. I worked hard. I talked to my friend. I learned new things. Tomorrow, I want to exercise. This bedtime review helps you process your experiences in English and prepares your brain for English dreams. Habit 5. English task preparation. Before you start any task, cooking, cleaning, working, studying, spend 30 seconds thinking about what you're going to do in simple English. I will cook dinner. First, I will prepare vegetables. Then I will cook rice. Finally, I will make chicken. This habit connects English thinking with goal setting and planning, which makes it feel practical and useful. The secret to making these habits stick is to start very small. Don't try to do all 5 habits at once. Choose one habit and practice it for 1 week. Make it so small that it's easy to do every day. For example, if you choose the morning routine habit, start with just thinking about brushing your teeth in English. That's it. Just, I am brushing my teeth. The toothpaste tastes minty. My teeth feel clean. After 1 week, when this feels natural and automatic, you can expand it to include more of your morning routine. Here's why habits are so powerful for English thinking. Right now, you have to consciously remember to think in English. It takes mental effort and decision-making. But when English thinking becomes a habit connected to daily activities, it starts happening automatically. Your brain will learn, when I wake up, I think in English. When I eat, I think in English. When I travel to work, I think in English. These connections become stronger every day until they feel completely natural. Let's choose one habit to focus on right now. Think about your daily routine and pick one activity that happens every single day. It could be drinking your morning coffee, walking your dog, or checking your phone before bed. Now, commit to connecting that activity with 2 minutes of English thinking every day for the next week. Set a reminder on your phone if you need to. The goal is to do this every single day until it becomes automatic. Remember, the key is consistency, not perfection. It's better to practice for 2 minutes every day than for 30 minutes once a week. Your brain learns habits through repetition, so daily practice is essential. After you've successfully built one English thinking habit, you can add another one. Gradually, you'll have multiple triggers throughout your day that automatically switch your brain to English thinking mode. Our sixth strategy involves something that many English learners never practice, but is absolutely crucial for fluent thinking: emotional thinking in English. This means learning to feel and express emotions directly in English, rather than translating your emotional thoughts from your native language. Emotional thinking is important because emotions are connected to some of our most natural and automatic thoughts. When you can think about your feelings in English, you are developing a much deeper connection to the language. Right now, when you feel happy, sad, frustrated, or excited, you probably experience those emotions and think about them in your native language. But native English speakers feel emotions and think about them directly in English. This does not mean changing what you feel. It means learning to recognize and describe your feelings using English mental vocabulary. Let us start with basic emotion recognition. Throughout your day, when you notice yourself feeling something, try to identify that feeling with a simple English word, not a translated word, but an English word that captures the feeling. For example, when you are enjoying your morning coffee, think, "I feel good," or "I feel happy," or "I feel relaxed." When you are stuck in traffic, think, "I feel frustrated," or "I feel impatient." The key is to use simple, basic emotion words that you know very well: happy, sad, angry, tired, excited, nervous, calm, worried, proud, surprised. Here's an exercise we can do together. I'm going to describe some situations, and I want you to think about how you would feel using a simple English emotion word. Situation 1. You just received good news about a job you applied for. Think, "I feel excited," or "I feel happy." Situation 2. You are waiting for important test results from a doctor. Think, "I feel nervous," or "I feel worried." Situation 3. You successfully had a good conversation in English with the native speaker. Think, "I feel proud," or "I feel confident." Good. Notice how you are connecting emotional experiences directly to English words, not translating from your native language. Now let's go deeper. Instead of just naming emotions, let us practice thinking about why you feel certain ways using simple English reasoning. For example, "I feel tired because I worked late last night." Or, "I feel happy because it is Friday." Or, "I feel nervous because I have a presentation tomorrow." This type of emotional reasoning in English is very powerful because it connects your feelings to English thinking patterns. You are not just using English words, you're using English logic to understand your emotional experiences. Let us practice this. Think of something that made you feel good recently. Now, describe why you felt good using simple English. You might think something like, "I felt happy because I talked to my friend." Or, "I felt proud because I cooked a good dinner." Or, "I felt excited because I planned a trip." Excellent. Now think of something that was challenging for you recently. Describe how you felt and why, using simple English. You might think, "I felt frustrated because traffic was bad." Or I felt sad because I missed my family. Or I felt worried because I had too much work. This emotional thinking practice helps your brain create English pathways for processing life's experiences. Instead of experiencing life in your native language and then translating to English when you need to speak, you are learning to experience life partially in English. Another powerful technique is English self-encouragement. When you are facing challenges or working hard on something, try encouraging yourself in English instead of your native language. Think things like, I can do this, or I'm working hard, or I'm getting better, or this is difficult, but I will not give up. This type of positive self-talk in English builds confidence and creates strong emotional connections to the language. You can also practice English gratitude thinking. When you notice something good in your life, acknowledge it in English. I am grateful for my health, or I appreciate my friends, or I am lucky to have this opportunity. The goal is to gradually include English in more of your emotional and personal thinking. This makes English feel less like a school subject and more like a natural part of how you process life. Start by practicing emotional recognition for just 5 minutes per day. When you feel something, pause and name it in English. When something good or bad happens, briefly think about it in English. Over time, this will become more natural and automatic. You will start to notice that some of your emotional reactions happen partially in English, which is a sign that you are developing true English thinking abilities. Remember, you do not need to think all of your emotions in English. Your native language will always be important for deep emotional processing. But adding some English emotional thinking will significantly improve your fluency and connection to the language. Now let us do some fun practice exercises together to reinforce everything we have learned. These exercises will give you immediate practice with English thinking techniques. I want you to participate out loud or in your mind. Do not just listen passively. Exercise 1, 60-second life narration. For the next 60 seconds, I want you to narrate everything you are doing and experiencing in simple English. Look around, notice what you see, think about what you are doing right now, and describe it all in your mind using basic English. Start with, I am sitting and listening to a podcast. I am learning about thinking in English. I can see, and continue for the full 60 seconds. Ready? Go. Perfect. How did that feel? You just spent a full minute thinking in English about your immediate experience. This is exactly the kind of practice that trains your brain to use English for real-time thinking. Exercise 2, simple decision practice. Now I'm going to give you a simple choice and I want you to think through it in English, out loud or in your mind. Consider the options and make a decision using simple English reasoning. Here is your choice. Should you drink water or coffee right now? Think through this in English. Consider things like, I feel thirsty, or I feel tired, or water is healthy, or coffee tastes good, or it is morning, afternoon, or evening. Take 30 seconds and make a decision using English thinking. Great! What did you decide and why? The important thing is that you used English thinking patterns to make a real decision. Exercise 3, emotion and memory connection. Think of something that happened to you yesterday. It can be anything. Something you ate, someone you talked to, somewhere you went, something you watched. Now describe how that experience made you feel, using simple English. Think, yesterday, I did something. I felt emotion because simple reason. For example, yesterday, I watched a funny movie. I felt happy because it made me laugh.
Or yesterday I had a difficult day at work. I felt tired because I worked very hard. Take a moment and connect a recent memory to emotions using English thinking. Excellent! You are connecting real-life experiences to English emotional vocabulary and reasoning. Exercise 4. Future planning in English. Let us practice planning in English. Think about this coming weekend. What do you want to do? Plan at least 3 activities using simple English future tense. Think, this weekend I will... activity. I also want to... activity. Maybe I will... activity. For example, this weekend I will visit my parents. I also want to clean my house. Maybe I will watch a movie. Plan your weekend in simple English now. Perfect! You just planned real future activities using English thinking patterns. This is exactly how you build English thinking skills for practical life situations. Exercise 5. English word association chain. Let us finish with the fun word association exercise. I will give you an English word and you let your brain jump from one English word to the next, creating a chain of associations. Do not translate. Just let your mind move from English word to English word. The starting word is summer. Let your brain create a chain. Summer, to hot, to sun, to beach, to water, to swim, to pool, to fun, to friends, to happy. Try to create a chain of at least 8 English words, letting each word naturally lead to the next. The starting word is music. Go ahead and create your English word association chain now. Wonderful! This exercise trains your brain to move fluidly between English concepts without needing translation as a bridge. These exercises show you exactly what English thinking feels like. It's not mysterious or impossible. It's simply using English for the mental activities you already do naturally. The more you practice these specific techniques, the more automatic English thinking becomes. Remember, you can repeat these exercises anytime. They are designed to be simple enough to do anywhere, but powerful enough to create real changes in how your brain processes English. As you start practicing these English thinking techniques, you might encounter some challenges. This is completely normal. Every English learner faces these obstacles when developing thinking skills. Let me share the most common challenges and give you practical solutions. Challenge 1. My brain automatically switches back to my native language. This is the most common challenge and it is totally normal. Your native language highway is very strong and your brain naturally wants to use it because it's faster and more comfortable. Solution. Don't fight against this or get frustrated. Instead, gently redirect your thoughts back to English every time you notice the switch. Think of it like training a puppy. You don't get angry when the puppy makes mistakes, you just patiently guide it back to the right behavior. The key word is gently. When you catch yourself thinking in your native language, simply think, okay, back to English, and continue with simple English thoughts. Over time, these redirections will become less necessary as your brain builds stronger English thinking pathways. Challenge 2. I don't know enough vocabulary to think in English. Many students worry that their English vocabulary is too limited for thinking. But this concern misses the point. You should think in English using only the vocabulary you know very well. Solution. Embrace simple thinking. If you only know 1,000 words, use those 1,000 words for thinking. It's much better to think simple thoughts in English than complex thoughts in your native language. Remember, native English-speaking children think in English long before they have large vocabularies. A 5-year-old English speaker might think, I want cookie. Cookie is good. Mommy said no cookie.
I am sad. This simple thinking is still authentic English thinking. As your vocabulary grows naturally through learning and practice, your English thinking will automatically become more sophisticated.